Secretary calling the meeting to order, and we'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America.
Stands one nation under God, liberty, justice for all.
Could everybody please remain standing? We would like a moment of silence for Captain Richard Campbell of our fire department, better known as RP to some of his colleagues. Okay, thank you. Roll call. Councilmember Brooks.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle.
Here.
Councilmember Deal.
Here.
Councilmember Gomez.
Here.
Councilmember Joshi.
Present.
Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Freeman. Present.
Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by an annual notice sent to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Sentinel, the News India Times on December 13th. Also, a special notice sent to the Home News Tribune on March 31st, 2020, and posted in the Lobby Municipal Complex on that same date.
Thank you. As a review of the minutes on a combined meeting of April 6, 2020, can I get a motion to approve for approval?
No, there's no approval now.
Oh, review. Only review. Okay, all right. It's only review. All right.
Any comments?
Any comments? On the April 6th meeting, is there any comments? If not, any comments on the combined December 23rd, 2019? Councilman Brescher and Council President Joy Freeman will not be able to comment on those minutes. Okay, now I will start with reports from all the council committees, starting with alphabetically with Brescher. Councilman Brescher.
None this evening.
Councilman Coyle.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to discuss that the Beautification Committee has been discussing some ideas. I first want to thank the administration for taking initiative to plant flowers in and around the Clara Barton section, which they're working on as of right now. I had some discussion with Councilman Gomez about an area in Bottomtown. I'm reaching out to Councilman Deal about a park in Winter Street Park. I think things are going great with the beautification program, and I'm thankful that the mayor and Council President and the administration has supported this committee. Thank you, Council President.
Councilman Deal?
None, ma'am.
Councilman Joshi?
Yes, Council President. The only update that I have for you this evening is related to the Library Board of Trustees. They met virtually or through a call, much like that we have, and they did hire a interim director whose name is Keith McCoy. He is phenomenal. They also, he brought to our attention that there were several things that were inadequate in terms of the way that the library was previously functioning, but he's working with, in addition to the previous audit, to make sure that the finances are now in order. You can review or you can watch the library board meeting on the library's website and Edison Township as well. That's all.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I went out of order. Councilman Gomez.
None at this time, ma'am. Thank you.
Councilmember Patel.
None at this time.
All right. had a meeting about the land. I had a landfill committee, and we're still stuck, and nothing came forth from that, but we have to go on forth, and we say we have to talk to the administration before we can go forth with another meeting. And I met with the Housing Authority. We discussed their lunch program. We discussed the programs which were in Julius Engel Gardens and the ones in Robert E. Holmes. It was very, very insightful. A lot of information was gained, and they liked the fact that they had someone from the actual council that was a hands-on and connected to them. And also, I had spoke earlier about the senior citizens prior to COVID. I had already spoke with senior citizen. I had spoke to the woman who runs the senior center on Woodbridge Avenue, and we had discussed that we would meet before COVID came about because I had spoken with her earlier. So I plan to meet with her later on in the week or possibly next week, because after COVID, life does go on, and we still have to see what type of grants and what type of subsidies that we can get that would make our community better for all of us. Thank you. All right, now.
Council
Yes.
President,
Yes.
Councilman Coyle, can I please be notified of any landfill committee meetings, please?
What happened?
Council President?
Yes.
Councilman Coyle, may I be notified of any landfill committee meetings, please?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. I will definitely, because I'm doing the phone
Thank you.
conference, and I will
Thank you,
make sure
Council
that I will make sure you get the numbers so you can join in on the conferences. All right? All
Thank you,
right.
Council President.
You're welcome. All right. Now I'm discussing our points of light, which I was unable to discuss last time. And at this particular time, we'd like to give a big shout out to our DPW, our fire department, our police, our essential workers. And I hope I'm not leaving out anyone in here that's doing a great job behind the scenes, because some people, they don't take pictures. They all, they stay behind the scenes, but they're very, very good workers, and they do a whole lot for our community. And I also want to bring up, during the month of April, we had a Holocaust Remembrance Day, which was on the 21st, which was prior to where our last meeting would be. And we also, on that day, was supposed to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, all right? And also on April 22nd, it was Administrative Professionals Day. So I hope everybody sent their person or someone a little small, if it wasn't nothing but a card, flower or something, to show people how much you appreciate them. Now, and also, before our next meeting, one of my favorite days, May 5th, National Teacher Appreciation Day is coming up. And also, it should be highly celebrated also. May 6th is Nurses Appreciation Day. So with that, we will move right along. Now, we're starting off from the business administrator. Everybody should have this in front. From 7A through D, are there any comments or questions? Okay. Number 8, from the Department of Finance. Number 8A through D, are comments or questions? Number 9, from the Department of Law. 9A and B, are there any questions or comments?
Madam President,
Yes, sir.
You're still, I just got cut off, but you're still on the business administrator?
No, we're on the Department of Law.
Department of Law.
Yes.
Okay. My call was just dropped, but I had two things. One going back to the business administrator and one for finance.
Okay, a business administrator, okay. Which one?
D.
D?
Yes, for the Sustainable Green Team. I'd
Yes.
like to get contact information from the administration on that.
Absolutely. Chris Masakis runs that, so yes, I can get you that.
Okay, thank you. And then I just had D on finance, about the interest rate for the delinquent taxes. This is where we're helping the residents out now by reducing that tax rate for a little bit. Is that correct?
Excuse me?
D in the resolution for the interest rate for delinquent taxes.
Yes.
This
Okay.
is where we're reducing the interest rate. I would say because of the corona that we have out now,
Yes.
that I give the taxpayers a little break.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now can we can go to law now, Councilman Brescher?
Yes, as long as I'm cut off again, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Now we're on the Department of Law. 9A and B. Any questions or comments? All right, moving right along. From the Department of Planning and Engineering, number 10A, any comments or questions? All right, now number 11, from the Department of Recreation, A. I'm surprised there's only one thing under there. Number 12, from the Department of Water and Sewer, 12, A through G. Any questions or comments? Number 13, from the Chief of Police, 13A and B. Any questions or comments? Number 14, from the Township Clerk, 14A. Are any questions or comments? Number 15, from the council member to the planning board, Council Member Coyle.
Council President, at this time, we've had no meetings at this time due to COVID-19. I will advise us of the next meeting coming up. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 16, unfinished business. Unfinished business would be the ordinance for further consideration in public hearings for final adoption that codifies the policy of the Township of Edison.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Yes, that's the one that we originally brought up in January, and then we were looking to make sure that we got it right, and we gave it to the labor attorney who rewrote it, but in my mind, he left something out that would protect anybody that was in inactive duty getting paid. Where I was proposing last meeting to change the word from may to shall. And the reason being is that it would take out any kind of politics. It's a very cut and dry type of thing where you would make it so that it's either that they will or they won't. And I was proposing that we would pay them to make sure that them and their families are protected. Subsequently, the labor attorney then rewrote the one, I think it's 2 sentences, that changes it from may to shall, and basically it gives us a amount of days, 24 aggregate work days per calendar year, that I'd like to propose to change those 2 lines.
Yes. right,
Council
so that
President,
would,
if I could hop in
please.
here. I think that the change should have been circulated, if I understand correctly, that Councilman Brescher is alluding to, should have been sent as a black line to all council so you could see exactly what the changes are. I think Councilman Brescher adequately synopsized what the changes were, but I just wanted, the actual words should be in front of the individual council members.
Yes, I asked the clerk to send that to everybody.
All right. So, okay, that would be, so Bill, that would be just that we just was discussing this, since this is just a work session. We won't really get into the deep of it until we get to the regular meeting. So, if I'm asking you, Bill, if the words and stuff are changed, does it have to be reintroduced?
Yes. The change is the change does have a substantial impact on the ordinance. So I would, if council wishes to entertain it, I would suggest that we reintroduce tonight. The language as to retroactivity still stands. So it would still go back to March 3, which is when the original ordinance, had it been adopted, would have taken effect.
Okay.
And that procedurally, the conversation can occur now, and then the Councilman Brescher would, or whoever would make a motion when it comes up in the regular agenda to amend the resolution and reintroduce.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. Discussion items. Councilmember Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Brescher?
Yes, I have a couple questions, I guess. A couple for the administration and a couple for our attorney. And I'd also like to thank, all the people that we've told to stay at home here in Edison. And they've adhered to our mayor about closing down our parks, and without giving everybody a hard time, I'd like to commend everybody, initially here, to say that it's because of that I think we're all going to pull through this together here. But I'd like to ask the administration a couple questions. One is, we have a budget that's due, and I'd like to get a new projected date. It was March 30th, and I'd like to get a new date for that.
Councilman, I'm waiting right now. They're proposing, putting together some kind of package for the towns. As you can imagine, I'm getting the first quarter numbers in, courts not correct, construction office, before and after care, interest on investments or hotel taxes, what our collections are going to be, and eventually what our appeals are going to be. So I have a tentative budget put together, but I expect in the next week or so we're going to be getting some word from Trenton on if a package is going to be put together for towns, and I'll be in a much better position to present. Because right now the projections are dismal in those accounts.
Okay, so that I'm just looking for the projected date for the budget. Would that be approximately 2 weeks, or are you saying maybe 3?
Yeah, like I said, I think we're gonna start with the budget committee getting together with the actual directors to go through their budgets, and I would say in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have at least a proposed introduced budget.
Okay. I have another question. I reached out to our engineer about the pump station. There was a pump station in Metuchen, and when I was kind of looking at the drawings, it looks like there are more homes from Metuchen going into the pump station than Edison. And I was looking for him to get me the numbers of how many homes in Edison are going in, how many homes Metuchen are going in, and see that where we worked out to do a 50-50 split with Metuchen, that it's fair to Edison residents, but not on the backs of the Edison residents. And I love Metuchen, but, you know, I'm here to look out for Edison. So can you follow up and see why it's taken him so long to get me those numbers?
Yes.
And one more question. We have a net zero committee. Can I get the contacts for the people on the net zero committee so that maybe they could look into how we could get closed caption or like a Facebook Live or something in the township? Because I know that, you know, we talked about the closed caption.
We actually are moving forward with the Facebook Live, but yes, I can get you those contacts about the closed caption. Definitely.
Okay. And then I have a question for our counselor. Bill, do you have any updates on that home that's on Fox Road that the resident uses, the garage that we own?
Councilman, you know, I do not. I had actually driven by there to take pictures so I could eyeball it myself. I did get some information from the tax collector, and candidly, I just with all this stuff going on, I just got distracted. My apologies. I will follow up with that, and I'll have a report for you at the next meeting.
Right. Thank you very much. That's all.
Councilmember Coyle.
Council President, thank you. First, like always, I want to thank all our departments for everything being done, especially our frontline workers that are out there in public safety, our fire and police, and our health department. I think our mayor and administration has done a great job with leading us in this COVID-19 effort. I've had no problems reaching our mayor and our administrator, and I'm very thankful for the work we're doing for the residents of Edison, and I'm certain it'll continue. I also want to thank the administration for continuing all the services that are being done in Edison, including our parks and many other services that we provide during this time. So I'm just proud that we're continuing to move forward, business as usual in most situations, and I do appreciate that. And I just want to thank, again, the administration, the mayor, and Maureen Ron for all the hard work they're doing. Thank you, Council President. Some comments I have. First, is it possible Jim DeVecchio can tell me just some brief instructions of how you get onto the council meeting for our people who are listening? I have been aware of a verbal instruction of how to get on, and I haven't sent anything written. You know, I have my laptop up. I'm looking. It just seems complicated. Is he on the phone?
Sure, Councilman. In the meeting notice is a link to be able to listen to the meeting, as well as there's now a part of the website. If you look at our website, there's a blue bar in the middle of the site with a bunch of different buttons. You can click the different areas. One of them is go to live meetings, and in there you'll see a website will come up where you can see all the live meetings scheduled in the future that I've put in the system, and you can actually click on the meeting you want to listen to at the time that the meeting is going on. Made it a little easier for the public to access it, so that's a little easier for them. And then your call-in information you've been provided to via email.
If you were to come up with a 30-second instruction before the meeting began, what would you tell our listeners? Because I'm on here now, and I mean it's a professional site. I see it says Avaya, Equinox. Let's get into this meeting. And I just says I can put my name and enter meeting ID. What is my meeting ID? Or can you walk me through what my 30 seconds instructions would be as a resident?
Sure. If you go to that meeting which says Live Meetings Portal, if you click on it, a page will come up. And on the tab, you'll see events. You'll see either happening today, which should come up, or
in the middle and a scheduled events. And if you click on scheduled events, you'll see all the events scheduled. Now, for right now, it's just tonight's council meeting is scheduled. So that's the only one that'll be up there. And that might not be there anymore because it's a meeting that's started. But I also see instructions in front of the agenda, which is accessible to the public. There's written instructions as well. I don't know, Jim, if you can elaborate on that as well. I'll speak to the clerk about that and make sure they put them with the agenda.
But it is.
Oh, it is?
Right before the agenda when you click on it.
It is included in front of the agenda, correct. That's what I'm saying. And maybe does that address everything that you're supposed to be covering? I think to Councilman Coyle's point is, if the residents go to the agenda, the first item before even the agenda pops up is the instructions in the meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry, Councilman Gomez. It's not on my agenda. I'm just trying to, I guess, after this meeting is complete, through the council president, would it be possible that before the meeting begins, we can give people simple instructions? If you'd like to join, click on the township's website. I mean,
that's what I mean, Councilman Coyle. If you go into the website and you pull up the agenda, when you click on the agenda, the first thing that comes up is a one-page instruction with links to the meeting. So this one says council meeting instructions for the public meeting on 4/27/2020. So that's what I was referring to. And then it's got the links
and I agree. It just, I mean, I'll have to sit down and one-to-one with you, Councilman Gomez, because it's challenging for people who don't know. Because I'm here now, and I just don't see an easy way to hop on them. I'm clicking meeting now. I'm here. It says, let's get into this meeting. I don't see an agenda click. I mean, I'm just, I believe I'm on the correct spot.
Yeah, so if you go to the council agendas and you click on, you go through the website, clerk's office, council agendas, and you click on the April 27th meeting, when that meeting comes up, the first page of it, 1 of 36, is the instructions for the meeting and the connection. That's I just wanted to point that out. I'm not sure if you noticed that.
So, and I appreciate that, Councilman. So what I'm hearing is, I'm on the website now. The home page says Recycle Coach, Live Meeting Portal, Tax Sewer Payments, Register Recreation, Recycle Calendar. I can't click on Live Meeting yet because I have to get the agenda first, correct?
No, not at all. You can click on that at any time. And it'll bring up a schedule of meetings that are scheduled. So you'll have recommended and scheduled events that you can click on and see a whole agenda of meetings once they're published.
So I'm here now. And I'm here right now.
There's a need number. If you look also on the website under News and Community Information, there's the council meeting for 4/22 rescheduled for 4/27. If you click on that, that also has all the instructions on connecting to the meeting, as well as the public meeting notice on a PDF file.
Did you get all that, Councilman Coyle?
No. I mean, I'm here now, and...
If not, you can come up with a mask on, and I'm sure Jim will show you exactly how it works. All right?
Yeah, Council President, I do appreciate that, but I'm not going to come into the building if I don't need to. But what I'm most concerned is for the 100,000 residents we represent.
Yes.
We have not identified a process to teach people how to log on. I'm here now. I can't log on. There's no instructions for me to log on. So what I'm trying to do is for those.
I'm looking at, excuse me, Councilman Coyle, but I'm looking at the instructions on how to log on and stuff. And I'm not the most tech savvy person there is, and I was able to direct some people how to get online from there. So. I'm learning as everybody else is learning, and I'm a senior citizen, so, I worked hard to get on there. So I'm learning these things as we go along. I think I'm getting more and more tech savvy as this goes on, even though, I would rather, I'm an extrovert. I'd rather be with people. But until then, I'll have to work hard on these things that I'm learning now.
In summary, if there's a possibility that a recording of Jim's instructions be at the end of this recording, telling people what to click and what to click next, a step-by-step would be helpful, because I don't think we're getting the audience participation we could, or we are getting the residents what they should be deserving, because it's difficult for them to get on. I would believe it is. I'll leave it at that, and I'll continue.
Yeah.
I'll continue this conversation another time.
All right. St. Coyle, I'm gonna keep that under advisement, and we'll be working on it also.
I'll tell you, I'm going to go through the entire meeting and ask for instructions how to log on as a councilman. If we don't get to that, if we don't provide better instructions, I'm going to walk through the next meeting with him to step by step, because it's just,
yes,
I think it would be more fair to the residents. All I'm asking, Council President. So moving forward, I just had to the administration, I had some follow-up on the Edmond Street. For a while, we've been working on Edmond Street for a one-way. I know we sent some letters to the DOT, and has there been any movement on that to the administration?
Councilman Coyle, this is Michael Okrepke. We are attempting to coordinate with the DOT to schedule a pre-construction meeting. With the COVID-19 complications, we're not exactly sure how it's going to occur, but we're working on it, and once it's scheduled, we'll let everyone know.
Mike, if we don't get a meeting, could you ask for a list of what the process is? Because rather than to wait for this long meeting, the roadblock, I believe, was whether we needed permission from the DOT as well. The DOT told us that we needed a resolution from the township. If the township said we can make it a one-way, they'll accept. What I'm asking is if we can ask for what the instructions are, provided we're in agreement. What is the application process? Because at least we can get our approvals in a row rather than waiting for this, three-person meeting. It's just a one-sheet answer of what they would want from us, because that was the roadblock I was at last. Whether the town needs to provide the resolution, and that's acceptable to DOT, and then we can move forward to public safety. So I think we're pretty close. I just want to know what that process is.
Understood, and we'll, in our communications with the DOT, that's one of the items we'll bring up, but hopefully there will be some sort of a pre-construction meeting, whether it be a conference call or video call or in person, that we'll be able to hash out these items, because as we all know, these types of meetings are better and yield better results than just trading communications.
Thank you, Mike. Council President, to the administration, I was under the impression we were putting up a resolution to extend the grace period for property tax payments to May 29th. Is that on the agenda?
Yes, it is. It's under finance.
Okay, I don't know why I didn't see it. Is that part of the one with the interest?
Councilman Brennan spoke about it earlier. It's on D. Finance. Yeah, directly under finance. Councilman Brescher had brought it up, and we had discussed it, saying yes, and we had answered that at that time.
I'm trying to make sure. So, okay, I didn't receive a copy of that resolution.
It's Resolution 220.
It was not in my packet. This was added to the agenda. Am I correct?
I'm sorry?
It was added to the agenda, was it not?
No, it was on the original.
It's the same original agenda.
Okay.
Same agenda as we had for the last meeting, Councilman.
Okay. Anyway, Council President, to the administration, I just want to thank the mayor and the administration for extending this through the May 29th. I mean, the residents are having challenges, and I think this is very good. I'm happy that the Assemblyman and is also working on stuff in the legislature that will also do help in happening in Trenton. So hopefully we'll find a compromise to help our residents across the state. As you know, there are 718,000 people unemployed, 718,000 people collecting unemployment, I mean. So it's a huge challenge, and people are hurting right now. So the residents who are laid off, furloughed, had their salaries cut, had their business closed. I received a lot of calls from people across the town who are just financially insecure. And this resolution may be amended in the future, and hopefully we can revisit it on May 29th before the sunset provision and extend that if needed. And again, I appreciate the administration doing this, and it's very well done. Thank you. I have nothing further.
Thank you. Councilman Deal.
Thank you, Council President. I want to echo what my fellow council members said in thanking all the people involved in keeping us safe. I see, and I know the fire, police, EMTs, DPW, the people in Town Hall, everybody's doing such a great job, and I just want to extend my thank you. This is a very difficult time, as we all know, and the job we're doing will pay off. Thank you very much. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. Council Member Gomez.
Thank you, Council President. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank everybody that's making sure that the town is still operating, and people have done a great job and continue to do so. And if there's anything we can do to support that and continue to support that, we're all here for them. So thank you again for all your efforts and commitment. On a separate note, for Maureen, had we received any guidance from DCA on what the anticipated revenues will be for those variable revenue lines?
No, not yet. That's what we're waiting for.
And then do we also have guidance on revenues from the tax levy that are anticipated?
Not yet, Councilman. It's very fluid. They're meeting. I know they're meeting every day. As soon as I get the guidelines, I'll share them with everybody. But they're still scrambling at the state level.
Yeah, and the one thing that I just really want us to take into consideration, and in particular how it will impact the directives in preparation for the budget, if we don't have guidance from the state and we don't have any real clear date as to when some of the economic activity is going to begin again, then those revenue numbers are significantly pending on that. So my hesitation with trying to put a budget forward is that we can obviously put the expenses together, but the biggest portion of that is going to be the revenue. We don't have clear guidance on the revenue. It's really an empty exercise. So again, I agree that we should try to move forward with the planning, and then obviously the scenario planning and impact of what those revenue numbers are going to be. And I think obviously we should begin to meet as a finance committee. But I think more specifically, we need to pay attention to what that guidance is going to be from Trenton, because that could have a significant impact on the budget in either direction. And we don't know whether the aid is going to be the same, it's going to be less. And obviously, municipalities are looking for that as well. So it's all across the state, but we need to get some guidance on that. So keep us posted, please, and then we figure out what Plan B will be from there at that point. That's all I have, Council President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Joshi?
Yeah, I have a couple things I wanted to discuss. The first being related to what Councilman Gomez was just saying. One, do we know when the Finance Committee is going to meet next? Or do we have any date planned for that?
We haven't scheduled anything yet, Councilman Joshi.
Okay.
And part of it is we just want to make sure that it's not premature or not having any real information that we can work with.
Okay. So that brought me to my next point. Now, if the budget is put forward by the administration within a couple weeks. Considering that the state has essentially delayed their whole process, how would that impact, one, the process for on a municipal level, knowing that we may not have the same revenues that we initially thought we did? Like, would the budget then get reintroduced, or would it get modified on spot? What's the process for that?
Well, you go through the introduction process, then you have to have a public hearing, then it has to go for final adoption, and I'm hoping in that period of time, Trenton and even the federal government, because that's who we're going to be looking to for some help with this, they're definitely going to be talking about this in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I'm obviously familiar with the process. It's just that if certain line items are anticipated and then they're drastically changed, then that would alter, that would cause a domino effect. Something to, if you can get back to me, I guess, as soon as, I know every municipality is also in the same boat. So if you could just let us know, whenever we do figure this process out. And
let everybody know.
Makes sense. And likewise, I know the SAFER grant had been mentioned earlier, and I know that it was used in the past related to the hiring for public safety to offset expenses. Now, I also understand, I spoke to Councilman Gomez about this, and I've also spoken to a couple different people, and I understand it's not a simple solution in terms of the in terms of paying for a future hiring, but I wanted to know if the Finance Committee, whenever they do meet, if that can be something that we look into, just to see whether it makes sense, what would be the cost projection to hire now, later. I wanted to just get a overlying understanding on where that applies, and it may not apply, it may not make sense, but
the
I just
SAFER
want to know.
And just to give you some background, the SAFER grant can only be used to increase headcount. It cannot be used to get our numbers back up to where they were. So you would have to hire more police than we already have, and I mean already budgeted. So let's say I have 183 police officers budget. The only way I could use the SAFER grant is to go to 190 or to 200. I would have to increase the budget. It can't do anything to help me with the shortfalls and the vacancies that I currently have. It can only be used to hire additional people. So we won't be able to use that at all.
Okay. I was familiar with that part of it. I also wanted to know whether, and forgive me if this question seems silly, but the minimum staffing levels that we have in both police and fire, that's set by an ordinance, or can that not be reduced, or is it also mandated by the state?
Well, it's our numbers in our budget are done, not by our budget, are done by ordinance, our table of organization. But, the state knows that we have, let's say, 183 police officers budgeted and 141 firefighters. So to go for the SAFER grant, it would have to be to move that 141 higher or that 183 higher. That's the only criteria that you can use the SAFER grant for. That's what we did several years back when we increased the fire department. I think it was like from 130 to 141. We hired 11 additional firefighters, and that 11 people is what we applied for the grant for.
Got it. Okay. All right. And the next point was related to the residents that are affected by Amazon. I've gotten a lot more emails from them, and I actually had I took about 2.5 hours out one day to just wait by Outcall Avenue, and I heard the noise itself. I know that I remember speaking to the mayor, and I think there was someone else who was supposed to go out. Did that happen?
I can address that, Councilman. I got your email. We had initially thought we had a company who could do it for us. They were either not able to, or for whatever reason, they never, got back to us. But I was in contact with an engineering firm that we've been talking to about other issues, and they had given us a proposal for right around $5,000 to go out and just do some monitoring. That is basically what we're going to need if we're going to try to pursue any action against Amazon, and I believe that we will have that resolution on for our next meeting.
If it's just $5,000, can we not? Why does it have to be a resolution?
Because the company that we're using, we currently have a resolution for, and it's over 17.5. So we have to by law do another resolution.
Got it. All right. And you said we'd be able to get that on for the next meeting?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And the reason why I'm saying this is because in the 2.5 hours that I spent, and I was there from 11 p.m. till about 1 a.m., it was bad. I mean, you could hear the constant beeping, and I know we've all seen the dramatic, the dramatic emails from residents, but I can vouch 100% that they're not exaggerated. They do sound like earthquakes. They do sound like random beeping. The sounds and explanations that were used by the residents are valid. And if we can just get someone out there to prove it, we can go back to the negotiating table with Amazon. I really don't.
Yeah, Councilman, if we could, I'd rather not discuss what our options may be. At this point, we can certainly discuss that offline, or if Council would like to, we could do it in a closed session once we have the information back.
Sure.
But let's get the info we need first, and then we can discuss our options and figure out what's the most effective remedy to fix the situation.
Okay.
Yes, but we can do that in closed session because I have three other complaints and stuff about Amazon. Like it's a pile of them, so I think we need to discuss that in a closed session at one time.
Okay.
Yeah, what I would suggest, Council President, is once I get the information back, once we get the information back, from the testing, then then that would be the best time to kind of take a look at it and discuss what our options are.
Okay, that's fine. And the last thing was simply to, again, echo the sentiments of my fellow council members. As I said, I want to thank everyone, especially the residents, for being extremely patient in all of this, and everyone that's currently working right now. To everyone that's working, I know we've said public safety and public works and the health department, the inspectors are going out of their way to do things that, the quantity of what they're taking on right now is not their traditional daily work. But to everyone that's working right now and anyone that would be listening, just know that we are all rooting for you. We're completely rooting for you. The whole town, the whole community, and all of society is rooting for you, and we thank you for all the work that you're doing. That's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Patel.
Yeah, thanks, Council President. I echo the sentiment of my council colleagues. Again, thank you all the township employees. That includes the police, fire, DPW, health department, OEM, and everyone working in the town hall. There is no interruption in day-to-day activities, especially the garbage pickup, recycling, the police protection, all of those things. So thank you, everyone, for keeping us safe. I have two questions, Maureen. The first one is with the New Jersey State. As our governor said that he's changing the fiscal year, the timeline. Does it have any impact on the municipal budget?
We don't know yet, Councilman. Yes, they did extend their budget to September. So that, in essence, is when we're going to actually find out what our state aid numbers are, and that's why, that's why I'm saying we're in just such uncharted territory now about putting a budget together. Again, I'm going to stress, I do believe we're going to be hearing in the next couple of weeks about probably a federal package, hopefully, to help out not only the state, but will trickle down to the municipalities.
Okay. Thank you. And my second question is, several residents have reached out to me regarding the spring cleanup. I know it is postponed, but just want to get the confirmation that it is not canceled. It will be scheduled sometime.
It absolutely is not canceled. When we're able, we definitely will be rescheduling it.
Okay. Thank you. That's it. Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. All right, now we're getting ready. I would let the public know that we're getting ready to start their regular meeting.
Council President,
Yes.
add comments to my section for discussions. I just have two things, and I'll be brief. Council President, to the administration, we talked about Topgolf and the releasing that bond money. Have we looked into just reaching out to Topgolf about their sign? Is there any update on the sign that they put up in the glow factor before we release their bond money, if they're going to correct that sign?
Yeah, we're still looking into it. And you see that it's not on the agenda, so we're still looking into it.
Council President, I'm speaking to the administration. I'm just, if you allow me to speak to Maureen,
no
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was just letting you know what the administration has.
Yes, Council President said exactly. Yes, we are still looking into it.
Okay, thank you for that. I also just, again, as the Council President did a moment of silence for Captain Richard Campbell, our heart goes out to his family and condolences to all his family and friends and his brothers. It was definitely a difficult time for Edison to lose such a great brother to the community. And I'm certain I say this on behalf of all our council people. We're truly sorry. And thank you for doing the moment of silence, Council President. Thank you.
All right. Moving into the regular meeting, all right, I need a motion for the approval of the combined meeting minutes of April 6th on 2020.
So move.
Who said, excuse me, I meant like before, when you do that, you have to tell, she has to hear your name. She just doesn't, the voices don't come clear through, so.
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Gomez making the motion.
Gomez.
Who's the second?
Who's the second?
Councilman Patel, second.
Councilman Patel.
Favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, so may it be. All right, Brescher, me and you have to be quiet on this one. We have to abstain. All right, for approval of the minutes for December 23rd, 2019. Can I get a motion for approval?
Councilman Coyle, motion to approve.
Councilman Coyle?
Yep. Who's second?
Who's second? Can I get a second?
Councilman Gomez, second.
Councilman Gomez, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, so may it be. All right. Starting off with the council president's remarks, I right now am taking resumes, and I'm also applications for the Human Relations Commission for this town, the one that we decided that we would reactivate because our town is in desperate need of a Human Relations Commission. And number two, what I've gotten phone calls about is that the Township of Edison does not have, we only have a mayor and then the council president, and our mayor, has been around during the whole course of the COVID emergency, and therefore, matter of fact, I was with OEM when it first started, so I was up there and I actually seen the mayor each day, so I'm just saying that just to be fair to everybody. Now, I want to make sure that everybody realizes that the information will be online for the Human Relations Commission. All information, any other inquiries, they may call our deputy clerk, Marlena. Thank you very much. Moving right along, Bill, does he have to, the person has this have to be reintroduced since we made the changes on it?
Well, it's up for
Well, it's what would happen now is presumably Councilman Brescher or whoever wishes to move would make a motion to amend the introduced ordinance to reflect the language that he discussed in the work session. It would then be up for a second, and assuming a second, it would be up for a vote to amend it. If it is amended, then you would need a separate motion to reintroduce.
So there's no final. I'm not going to, should I still read the?
So she still read it since it's not final, but he can reintroduce it?
Yeah, you have to read the ordinance because that's what's going to be the subject of the discussion. So read the ordinance and then allow Councilman Brescher to make his motion.
All right, okay, all right.
This ordinance codifies the policy of the Township of Edison regarding military leave law for Township employees, not including temporary or seasonal employees who are called to active military duty or service or inactive duty training.
Okay. Motion. Let's say open to the public. It's open to the public, but I don't see any. We have no one. There's no one in the submissions that is saying anything. So all right. So now it's up to.
Council President, can I make a motion to amend this?
Excuse me, sir.
Council President, can I make a motion to amend this to read?
Yes.
The township shall allow leave with full pay for up to 24 aggregate working days per calendar year for any period of inactive duty training. And that was in section 3A.
Can I get a second?
Well, wait, if I could, before we second, just to be clear, Councilman, you want to make all the changes that were made, that were sent over by Matt Jacoby, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, just so council, so the second knows what they're seconding and the entire council knows what they're voting on. I think there's one other sentence in one other section that I forget what the change is, but it needs to be changed as well.
Yeah, A and D are the two sections.
A and D are the two sections.
Of three.
Of three.
Okay, so now you have a motion by Councilman Brescher, and then, Council President, you may want to ask for a second, and then there would be a vote on whether to amend the ordinance and reintroduce.
Council President?
Yes.
Sam Joshi, second. Okay, thank you.
Sam seconded? Okay, now I do roll call.
Okay, Sam Joshi, second. Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher?
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle?
Yes.
Councilmember Deal?
Yes.
Councilmember Gomez?
Yes.
Councilmember Joshi?
Yes.
Councilmember Patil?
Yes.
Council President Chip Freeman?
Yes.
So this is yes on the amendment. Now I need another vote for introduce?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now you need to present it again and introduce it. You need to introduce it again. Introduction. You need to be introduction for this. Along with your amendment, Councilman Brescher, now you have to reintroduce it.
And the next meeting would be May 13th.
The next meeting would be May 13th. But
So you're going to introduce it with final adoption to be on May 13th.
okay. You got that, Councilmember Brescher?
Is he going to reintroduce it?
Hello?
Yes, I'd like to introduce this. This would be for the first reading then, correct?
It's first
Correct.
reading and
An amended version of the first reading.
Yes, I'd like to introduce this, yes.
a public hearing to be made on May 13th.
You got to repeat all that.
Yes, that's the motion. Councilman Brescher is making a motion to introduce the ordinance and set it down for a public hearing on May 13, at which time there will be a final adoption. It should be published according to the normal process we use. That Councilman, is that that's the motion you're making, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Councilor.
Okay.
All right, who seconded that motion? Who second?
Councilman Coyle, second.
Councilman Coyle is seconded.
Roll call. Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Deal.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Councilmember Joshi.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Chip Freeman.
Yes.
Yes.
At this time, this is open to the public comment and stuff, but I don't have any emails or anything about the ordinance. We are opening now for the resolutions. I don't have any submissions for that. Public comment on the resolutions, I don't have any, so we're going to move.
Council President, could you pull 204 for a separate vote?
Wait, one second. Wait, I gotta wait 2 minutes. Then say that again to me in a second. I have to wait 2 minutes, they told me.
Okay.
Oh, love technology.
You have to wait. She's listening to the meeting. Give her a chance to for a second. Yes. Charles.
There you go. All right. Excuse me, sir. Who was just speaking to me, councilman? Member?
This is Councilman Brescher. I was requesting that we pull Resolution 204 for a separate vote because I didn't see any of the exhibits. So I'm not really sure what the developer agreement is about.
You said 204?
Yes, 204.
Anything else, Councilman Brescher?
That's it.
Anyone else?
Anyone else would like to pull something for a separate vote
On the resolution.
on the resolution?
None, Council President. Thank you, Councilman Coyle.
All right. So
All resolutions except 204.
all resolutions except 204 on the consent agenda. Can I get a motion? Can I get a motion to pass everything except 204?
Council President, motion to adopt resolutions except 204. Councilman Coyle.
Councilman Gomez, second.
Councilman Gomez, second.
Okay.
All right.
Roll call. Councilman Brescher.
Yes.
Councilman Coyle.
Yes.
Councilmember Deal.
Yes.
Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Councilmember Joshi.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Chip Freeman.
Yes.
So now we got 204.
Councilman Brasher pulled 204. Council, all right, 204, can I get a motion for approval for what is it, 200, rather 204? Can I get a motion for approval?
Motion to approve, Councilman Gomez.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Joshi, that's a second. All right. Roll call.
Councilmember Brasher.
No.
Councilmember Coyle.
Council President, I'm voting no. Council President, Mr. Brescher asked for some information to the planning board from me, and I was not able to deliver that to him, and he asked a week ago. I apologize. That's why I'm voting no.
Councilmember Geo. Councilmember Gomez.
Yes.
Councilmember Joshi.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Council President Ship Freeman.
Yes. All right. We are now moving along. We're now for the open to the public.
Oral petitions and remarks.
Yep, or petitions and remarks. Some of these will say something, but they'll be dated for our last meeting. So, since the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, okay, sorry. All right, James Daniel, 680 Amboy Avenue. Since today is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, which was Wednesday of last week, I feel that this is the time to use some of the money in the tree fund to replace the trees on Amboy Avenue between Franklin Avenue and New Jersey Turnpike overpass. Edison Township DPW has removed 40% of the trees over the last several years and did not replace them. Number two, I feel that the council meeting room can be temporarily reconfigured so that the meetings can be televised, not just audio. I think that for a few $100s, you could purchase a few more mics and cords so that there can be separation between every participant in the room. I like to see your faces during the meeting. Next, Mark Malarkey, 4th Street and Clara Barton. Realize that the Middlesex County Greenway is a county asset that runs from Metuchen. Edison and Woodbridge is a unique asset that the community uses. Is there much difference between that and just walking in the street? Guessing it was easier for the freeholders to close all county parks to prevent groups of people from gathering, but seriously, do you think any of the freeholders walk on the Greenway? Site. Is anyone willing to contact the parks director or freeholder to open up the Greenway? On Amboy Avenue, on the brick sidewalks, I have noticed that there are several locations where the bricks are misaligned in numerous places. Does the town fix this? Figure when the public works people do cleanup of garbage, they could detail more precisely than just saying Amboy Avenue, but it's not that big of an area to validate. We'll also note that St. James Church on Woodbridge Avenue has a food pantry for the Hands of Hope Food Bank and accepts non-perishable food donations along with monetary donations too. Item in demands are canned tuna, mac and cheese, canned soup, canned veggies, pasta and sauce. Ramesh Shaw,
Council President?
Yes.
Council President, I just would like to make comments on the last two readings you've had, please.
First, okay, go ahead.
You first have Mr. Daniel. I think in the past we've addressed some trees I do agree with the letter he sent. Of course, we do need more trees. I believe the administration is definitely looking into that. That's something we've discussed in the past. I think with the interruption of COVID-19, and I think we're behind schedule. Also, for the bricks of the second letter you have, the bricks we've definitely addressed in multiple locations. The mayor has discussed that with me. I discussed with the administration. We're slowly making progress, but again, due to COVID-19 and our schedules are switched up a little bit, I think we'll be back to slowly improve the bricks on Amboy Avenue. It is a lot of work, but I believe we're doing our best to address it. Thank you, Council President.
All right. Okay. Ramesh Shaw, Two Faith Avenue. Very pleased to hear the Township Mayor and Council members are extending grace period till the 29th. May I request you to contact charges to pay by credit card so that there will be one more month to pay back to credit card company. This was in existence when Mr. Lanky took office. Again, sometimes there is a way to extend. The period to pay back the credit card, as they are now liberal on making credit card payments, please look into this matter and try to help the struggling Edison homeowners. Thanks. Maria Orchard. Dear Council, thank you for taking the time to have a phone meeting. I think the residents of Edison would be very interested in what is going on during COVID-19 pandemic. I would like to thank all the healthcare, post office, Office of Emergency Management, food service, delivery workers, essential service workers, volunteers who help our seniors and our community for all their dedication through this unprecedented time. Thank you, Joe Coyle, for planting flowers on Amboy Avenue and your dedication to the Beautification Committee. Your efforts and hard work make Clara Barton a beautiful area. Please update the official list. Groups such as the Environmental Commission, Green Team, Health Advisory, Municipal Alliance, Open Space Advisory, and Committee currently show expired terms. J, any update on the farmers market? Can the council help residents that would be having an issue paying their property taxes by May 1st, 2020? At the Board of Education meeting held on Monday, April 20th, 2020, they announced on Tuesday, May 5th is National Teacher Appreciation Day, and on Wednesday, May 6th is Nurses Appreciation Day. I would hope we can recognize them. Thank you for all your help during this difficult time. Regards. All right. Mark Malarkey. For those who have DirecTV, how does the township recognize that? Don't know of a cable since I've never had a cable. Mark Malarkey, 4th Street, Edison. Apparently, you folks whom are running these events have not tested the user on the other end. May not have T1 or T3 line to their homes. Also, many different operating systems are out there currently, some old, some new, some wireless. Sadly, no wizards in Edison anymore. Those are all the submissions that we received. Anybody at all? And I myself had noticed that with these storms, we're losing a lot of trees. A lot of dead trees are going around. I don't know who looks into that, Maureen, but there's a lot of dangerous, trees that are, now, aged out. And it's kind of nervous to see them, just falling down when the storms heighten.
Okay. Council President?
Yes.
Councilman Coyle, to the administration, for Maria Orchard, she asked about the farmers market. Before she texts me on the street to ask me the same question, could the administration give us some direction of where we are going with the farmers market?
Jay or Jan?
Councilman Coyle, Jay Elliott here. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I've talked to a number of individuals. Obviously, with the COVID-19, my efforts have been pushed in another direction here. However, even during this process, I've talked to a couple other folks that are interested. We're still going to try to, obviously, depending upon the how the governor opens up the state. We're a little bit different situation than Metuchen and Highland Park because they were open, the previous year, so they're doing the curbside thing. We're restarting the market with new vendors, so it's a little bit more difficult to do so. But at the point that we can actually do an open air market, I do have several folks that are interested in doing so, and we plan on going forward.
You have a farmer yet?
We do.
Okay. All right. I did get a message.
A couple of different options, Councilman.
Okay, good. I did get a message to pass you that Aspicolas Farms was looking at the site. I just didn't get a phone number, but if I get it, I will text you.
No, actually, I do have to. George reached out to me, and we've had a conversation. I've got another organic farmer from Hunterdon, I'm sorry, that's interested as well too. So looking to see if we can get involved in there.
Well, it's good. Thank you, Jay. It's good to hear that the farmer's not the issue. It's just a matter of when we challenge COVID-19 and get back out the way we did things. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And one last thing, because a person texted me on the phone because they were unable to get through the submission. Elizabeth Conway from the Board of Ed, she says, can you ask, she wants to know why she's getting calls from the Woodbridge mayor. I don't know.
President, to our counselor, is text messaging an official communication, counselor?
No, it's not. She can't get through.
I just want to make sure that we follow the code. I just want to go through, Council President, I just want to make sure that you don't get bound up into a problem here. To the counselor, how do we handle text messages to Bill Northfield?
No, you're correct, because she asked me how to get on the site, and she couldn't get on the site. That's the only reason why I responded to her, but I'm not getting into text messages. Like Maria asked you on the street, Elizabeth asked me on the street to ask that particular question. So I just wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it, because she asked me on the street.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I heard you say text message. I just want to protect you for anybody calling. Thank you, Council President.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. But I have nothing to do with what she told me on the street, and I have nothing to do with certain things that go on. People, the different emails I receive, I make sure that we have committee meetings. And the only reason why I haven't had more committee meetings because from Wednesday to today, very short amount of time at all. So, anything else? I make a motion that we close the public portion. Can I get a motion that we? Can I get a motion that we close the public portion?
Councilman Coyle, a motion to close the public portion.
Second, Councilman Gomez.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, so may it be. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Council President. Second, Joseph Coyle.
And Councilman seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Opposed? All right. The ayes have it, so may it be. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Council President.
Good job, everybody.
Thank you.